Mark my words, the attacks come today just like they did then on the Lord's work. You know what the attack has been this last year on the Lord's work? COVID. And it has succeeded in dividing believers and pitting them against each other. It has succeeded in attacking people who are trying to do the Lord's work. And if you've got half a brain, you better get your guard up. And you better work twice as hard at what is actually the Lord's work. If something says you can't do what a believer is supposed to do, you name the most important things a believer is supposed to do. Help me with this now. Let's make sure I'm not the only one that thinks this way. What are the most important things, actively speaking, that a believer is supposed to do in the service of the Lord?
Witness.
Witness. Can't witness, can't talk to people. Number 2, assemble. I mean, it's one of the most important things a believer can do, is assemble with the other believers. And that's a real problem, isn't it? If you think that COVID is anything, and you say, well, it was all about the election. Sure it was. Well, it was all about socialism and taking away people's rights and all these things. Sure it was. Well, it was released on purpose. I'm not a major conspiracy theorist, but to have the worldwide effect that it had, of course it was. It's being used for political capital, absolutely. But my friend, you think God cares about politics from His eternal perspective? What does God care about today?
Souls.
He cares about His church. What's the task of the church? You said it. Souls. And if you fall into the trap of being against other believers who are caring about souls, my friend, you're in the wrong crowd. You're in the wrong group. There will always be opposition to the Lord's work, and it'll reinvent itself at all times as something else. It doesn't matter. When COVID goes away, it'll be something else. It'll be something else. Don't you know this? I'm amazed. It blows my mind how many believers were blindsided by the effects of COVID. How many believers stopped assembling with other believers? I'm amazed at how many Christians are like, man, I can't believe that happened. I'm not. Didn't surprise me. I knew it was going to happen from the beginning. Saw it coming. Amazing how many Christians, well, I never thought that would have that effect. Amazing how many ministries have closed, how much harm and damage has done, and how many believers no longer speak to each other today. You think that's of the Lord? Believers not even getting along with each other or regarding each other or being against each other over stupid stuff. You think that's of the Lord? Are you surprised? You shouldn't be. Shouldn't be. They knew the attack was coming, and so they got themselves swords and spears, and they just went on with the work. And if you know an attack's going to happen, what should you do? So, to be prepared, they have to fortify, right? They have to stop. Is that right? Is that right? No. If they stopped, the work would have never gotten done. They had to keep doing the work. And they took the threat seriously. They got a sword, they got a spear, and they worked with one hand. And then the attack was warded off. When they heard that it was known, then they decided not to attack. When they heard there was going to be an attack, they got their guard up. And because of that, the attack didn't come.